I am the Ghost King. Seeker, walk with me. We stand at the edge of a history that breathes, a past that was never truly buried. This is why you need to face it, to understand how fear became law, how desperation was forged into ritual. I will show you the hidden logic behind one of humanity's most unsettling traditions, human sacrifice. Not as a monstrous caricature, but as a grim tool of social order, a desperate bargain with the unseen world. Together, we will unlock 3 doors into this past. We will uncover the secret of the famine oath, a promise sealed in blood when the skies were silent and the earth was dust. We will step through the door of knives, where treaties between kingdoms were written not with ink, but with life itself. And we will meet the Bride of the River, a figure of myth and memory, given to the water to quell its rage. These aren't just stories. They are echoes that still shape communities today. So I ask you, Seeker, which truth do you fear most? Before we proceed, you must shed a common illusion. Pre-colonial Africa was never a monolith. It was a continent of 1,000 kingdoms, 1,000,000 villages, each with its own intricate web of belief and governance. From the sprawling empires of the Sahel to the forest states of the Congo Basin, the reasons for sacrifice were as varied as the people themselves. To understand these acts, you must first understand their cosmology. Life was not a simple, linear path from birth to death. It was a constant negotiation with a world teeming with forces. There were the ancestors, whose approval was essential for prosperity, and whose wrath could bring ruin. There were the spirits of the land, the river, the forest, powerful temperamental entities that demanded respect and appeasement. And there was the fragile fabric of social cohesion, the very survival of the community, which at times felt more important than any single life. These acts were wrapped in a survival logic that made the unthinkable feel necessary. How do we know this? The evidence is a fractured mirror, reflecting the past from different angles. We have the cold, often biased accounts of colonial administrators who documented these practices to justify their own civilizing mission. We have the deep, resonant currents of oral histories, passed down through generations, preserving the emotional truth and moral lessons of these events, even as details shift. And we have the silent testimony of archaeology, the shrines, the burial sites, the ritual objects left behind. Each source tells only part of the story. The truth lies in the space between them. Seeker, the brave face the past to command the future. Let us now face the first door. Imagine a village gasping under the weight of a merciless drought. The harvest has failed. The granaries are empty. The children's cries are thin and weak. The elders gather, their faces etched with a fear that is older than memory. The diviner has cast the bones, has read the patterns in the dust, and the message is clear. The spirits of the land feel forgotten. They demand a great gift, a show of ultimate commitment, to unlock the sky and let the rains fall. In the center of the council, the chief stands. He makes a solemn vow, a famine oath. He pledges that if the rains do not return by the next full moon, a life will be given, not as a punishment, but as a seed planted in the spiritual soil, an ultimate offering to nourish the land back to health. In that moment, a heavy silence falls. The communal terror of starvation wars with the private, intimate horror of the pledge. Who will it be? A captive from a recent raid, an outcast, or someone from within the community itself? The oath hangs in the air, a blade of hope and dread. Now, I ask you, Seeker, if the sacrifice of one life could guarantee the survival of 100, would you accept the bargain? Now let us approach the second door. This is not a door of wood or stone, but a threshold of politics and power, the door of knives. In many societies, treaties were not mere documents. They were living covenants, sealed with the most potent substance known, blood. When two rival chiefs decided to end a generation of warfare, they would meet at a sacred place. A ritual would be performed, a life taken, and the blood used to bind the two parties together. This act served a dual purpose. It was a sacred promise to the ancestors that this peace would hold, but it was also a chillingly practical threat. The spirit of the sacrifice was believed to watch over the treaty, and any who dared to break the pact would face its supernatural vengeance. Fear became the guarantor of peace. Power was consolidated not just by armies, but by the terror of a broken oath. This is how fear traveled as law from one village to the next, creating a landscape of order built upon a foundation of ritual dread. It is said that a witness to one such treaty, a man who saw the chief's own cousin chosen for the sacrifice, broke his silence years later. He spoke of the secret council, the political maneuvering behind the choice. And then he vanished. If you have reached this far, Seeker, your mind is rarer than gold. You do not turn away from the shadows. Tap subscribe now. I drop tales like this every Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday at 10:30 p.m. Tune in so you never miss the next door we open. The third door stands before us, shrouded in mist and sorrow. It leads to the bride of the river. In communities that lived by the grace of a great river, the annual flood was both a blessing and a curse. It brought fertile silt, but it could also bring destruction, sweeping away homes, canoes, and lives. To appease the powerful spirit of the water, a tradition emerged. A young woman, often lauded for her beauty and character, would be chosen as a symbolic bride for the river god. Was this always a literal sacrifice? Historians and elders debate. In some accounts, she was rowed to the center of the river and left to the water's embrace. In others, the ritual was purely symbolic, a ceremony of dedication, after which she lived a life of sacred honor, forbidden to marry a mortal man. But whether literal or metaphorical, the effect was profound. The community projected its anxieties onto this single figure. Her sacrifice, real or symbolic, became a focal point for their collective hope and grief. The legacy of the Bride of the River lives on not just in the trauma passed down through lineages, but in the protective taboos and cautionary myths that reframe the river's danger for future generations. The story became a shield. Do you see the pattern now, Seeker? A crisis arises. Famine, war, natural disaster. The community turns to its leaders, both political and spiritual. A council convenes. A ritual threat is made, a demand for the ultimate price. The sacrifice is performed, and with it, a great social and psychological reset occurs. The cosmic balance is seen to be restored. The authority of the leadership is brutally reinforced. The aftermath is a complex tapestry. Trauma stitched directly into the lineage of the sacrificed. Power structures strengthened by their command over life and death. And cultural memory rewritten into cautionary traditions that whisper of the price of survival. Your courage to learn this rewrites your own destiny, Seeker. It frees you from the simple judgments of the present. But what of the vanished witness? the man who saw the politics behind the door of knives. He did not die. He fled, carrying his story to a neighboring territory. His testimony, whispered in secret councils, planted a seed of doubt. It revealed how a sacred right could be manipulated for personal gain. Over a generation, his story transformed. It became a parable, a cautionary tale told to new chiefs and priests about the abuse of power. His act of speaking up did not stop the practice overnight, but it reshaped local justice. It introduced a new layer of scrutiny, a new demand for transparency in moments of crisis. The bravest voice is the one that speaks when history whispers, "Stay silent." His courage proves that even in the face of overwhelming tradition, a single voice can alter the course of the river. So I challenge you, what law would you write, knowing fear once wore a crown? We have walked through the shadows together. The famine oath was the desperate gamble of a people against nature. The door of knives was the cold calculus of power, using the sacred to enforce the political. The bride of the river was the embodiment of communal anxiety, a story to tame a chaotic world. We look at these histories not to sensationalize, but to learn. To confront these dark chapters is to understand the roots of modern mistrust, the impetus for ritual reform, and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. I am the Ghost King, you are the Seeker. Our journey is far from over. New stories await every Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday at 10:30 p.m. Subscribe, walk this road with me. To the one seeker who stayed until the very end, your curiosity is a rare flame. Watch more of my videos. I drop new stories every week. Start with the next chapter waiting for you on my channel. The past has more secrets to yield.